Most mornings, my cat, Kofi, is waiting by the front door before I've even finished tying my shoes. He's a stubborn little guy, 5 years old, all attitude, and he insists on going outside every day, rain or shine. He follows me and my parents to the elevator every morning, sometimes trotting between our legs, sometimes just flopping down and refusing to move until we pick him up. We ride down together, and then he slips out into the neighborhood, tail high, like he owns the whole block. Most days Kofi comes back on his own or waits for us to bring him up in the evening, but he's not exactly punctual. Sometimes he's bored after an hour and wants back in. Other times he disappears for half a day or even longer. I've stopped worrying, mostly. When he's ready to come home, he sits just under our balcony and meows, loud enough for the whole building to hear. If we're home, we let him in. If not, well, he waits. Sometimes for hours. We've got a good relationship with the neighbors. Some have a spare key to our place, so if they hear Kofi, they'll bring him up. Others just let him into the building so he's not stuck outside, especially when it rains. Our apartment's a little odd. It's bigger than the others, and you can get in 2 ways. Up the stairs to the left, or by using the elevator that opens straight into our living room. The elevator's got a special key, and that's the way Kofi's used to. Me too, honestly. But when the neighbors without the key let him in, Kofi goes up the stairs and waits outside the main door. If I'm coming up from the garage, I take the elevator and never see him waiting. He'll meow and scratch until someone opens up. Most weekends, my parents are out hiking or camping. I'm left with the chores and, if I'm lucky, the apartment to myself. Sometimes I invite friends over, but tonight was just me and the TV. It was late, almost 11. I was half asleep on the couch when I heard a meow. At first, I thought it was just the TV, but then I heard it again, louder, echoing down the hall. Someone must have let Kofi into the building. He was waiting outside the door, meowing for me to let him in. I grabbed my keys and started unlocking the first lock, barely awake. But as I turned the key, I froze. The meow didn't sound right. Kofi's got this high-pitched, almost musical meow, one I know by heart. This one was deeper, slower, almost drawn out, and off. I stopped, key halfway in the lock. My heart thudded in my chest. I waited, listening. Another meow, wrong again. Then scratching at the door. Kofi never scratches that door. Never. I didn't want to wake the neighbors, so I almost kept unlocking. But something made me stop. The meowing was getting louder, almost desperate. Then, a cough. Not from a cat. A man's cough, right behind the door. I've lived here 21 years and barely ever used the peephole. But that night, I let go of the keys and pressed my eye to the door. My hands were shaking. There was a man standing right outside my door. He was meowing. Not quietly, either. Loud, drawn out, almost mocking. I felt my heart drop into my stomach. I just stood there, frozen, barely breathing. I don't know how long I watched him. He kept meowing, sometimes like a cat, sometimes like he was trying to remember how it was supposed to sound. Eventually, my body just took over. I stumbled back from the door, grabbed my phone, and hid in the corner of the living room. My hands were shaking too much to dial at first. I called the police. I remember whispering into the phone, trying not to make a sound. By the time they arrived, the hallway was empty. No meowing, no scratching, nothing. They took my statement, checked the hallway, and told me to be careful. One of them asked if I'd seen the guy before. I said no. I still haven't. I still don't know how he got into the building. You need a key for every entrance. and I don't know how he knew to stand outside my door or why he tried to sound like Kofi. I don't want to know. Kofi came home the next day, yowling at the balcony as usual. I let him in, checked him over, and held him a little tighter than normal. He just purred, totally oblivious. I'm more careful now. I check the people every time, even if I'm sure it's just Kofi. And sometimes, late at night, I swear I hear that wrong meow echoing down the hallway. I don't open the door anymore, not unless I'm sure.